We want to discuss achieving food security in a challenging climate post-COVID, the socio-economic and green recovery processes. Can I state it again? We want to achieve food security in a challenging climate post-COVID and focusing on the socio-economic and green recovery processes. And to discuss this issue, I would like to welcome on stage one of the government officials, Madam Christine Nat. Mr. Christine Nat. You know the way your name is spelled? S-T-I-N. S-T-I-A-N, right? I say, what I have here is S-T-I-N-E. Thank you for the correction. I would like to welcome you. Thank you so much. For the private sector, Mr. Michael Piwu.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. For the youth group, I would like to welcome Mr. Kamu Mova. Thank you. For the women and CSO group, I would like to welcome Madam Rashida Vuku. And for the stakeholder group, I would like to welcome Mr. Rennie M. Gibson. Miss. Great, so then it cut down one time, in fact. Our note taker, are you there? Are you ready for us? Chief, we set? Great. So I'd like to welcome, please put your hands together for them. Thank you. So, all of you have been assembled from, various spectrum of the society and various stakeholder group. And we have started discussing a healthy planet for the prosperity of all, and the path we need to take. Now, Liberia fundamentally has been challenged with food security. It does not date back to Charles Taylor. It does not date back to Samuel Kedu or William R. Tubman, William V. Stockman, Edwin Barclay, or whoever, including Joseph Jingin Rowers. From time to time, Africa as a whole, from time to time, Liberia as a country, globally, food security is a major challenge. It is a major goal of the SDG to ensure that no one is hungry. And as such, it is important for us to discuss primary actions to ensure food security. But a fundamental challenge there also is that in this dispensation, COVID-19 struck. The recovery processes most countries have made, the recovery strides that most countries made, unfortunately, we lost them. Now, for Liberia, consistent with our national development agenda, to be able to achieve food security in post-COVID era, we will need to focus on the socio-economic and the green recovery processes. To this, we have assembled you based on your wealth of knowledge and your experiences so far. So our attempt is to discuss this topic, and we would like to start with Mr. Christine Nat. The government of Liberia is responsible for policy, creation of policy, creating enabling environment, facilitating investment, and all that. From your perspective, what do you think are primary actions, our responsibilities, and the opportunities that we can pursue to achieve food security in Liberia post-COVID?
Thank you. Good afternoon once again. I'm Christian Nat. Okay. First of all, we have to know what is food security, according to the fact that food security is a global challenge and everybody wants to be food secure. So,
the institution you represent.
Yeah. So, I'm from the Ministry of Agriculture. I serve as County Agriculture Coordinator for Maryland County. So, in my presentation, most of my examples I'll give, though I will talk about Liberia on a larger scale, but most of my examples will be in the Southeast. Okay. So, food security is the act or the process of having sufficient food at all times, very affordable, and that meet the human need for better nutrition. As we all know, if we are food secure, we get better health, and we get good energy for work, and then we are good and we relax in decision making. And food security at the first World Food Summit held in 1996 stated that food security exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. So,
3 minutes.
is it in me? Yeah. So, and there's no way again you will talk about food security without talking about food insecurity.
Yeah.
Food insecurity is the act of living without having access to food and being hungry. And there are causes of food insecurity. Some of those causes are war, climate change, diseases outbreak like the COVID-19. And definitely I would like to rush in to talk about climate change. Climate change is a process of is a long-term change of the climate over a period of time, and it affects agricultural production and even affect our movement from place to place. Now, we have to succeed because regardless of what climate change brings to us, as a nation, we must be food secure. And there are a few ways forward for us to be food secure. Some are one, promotion of good agricultural practices to increase income. We need to, like agricultural practices like crop rotation, but good irrigation system, and good irrigation system, and organic farming. And we talk about crop rotation, it helps us to forget about shifting cultivation. And the next issue here is implementing adaptation methods that reduce losses and risks from extreme weather conditions and climate smart agriculture. So the ministry is also trying to commit and give attention to climate smart agriculture by encouraging farmers to go into lowland rice production and also carry on integrated farming. Like currently we have the EU DESERA project, which is doing integrated fish and rice production in Magibi, Bopolu, Maryland, and River G County, including Grand Gide. And also, what we need to do, again, as a government, we need to have access to agricultural loan. Currently, there's a challenge that many persons want to farm, they have the energy, they have the idea, but they don't have access to loan. And in Liberia, our challenge is we need better food. But once there is no access to loan or grant, definitely we won't have that pace of production. So we encourage government and partners to work together to see how best we can have an agricultural bank in Liberia. And then concentrated government effort to mitigate damages done by COVID-19 to the agricultural sector, providing financial assistance and technical support to farmers and people in Liberia. Like the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Agriculture, currently they are carrying on the SAPEC and the RETRA project that helps to give financial assistance to farmer group, and then the Ministry of Agriculture also gave inputs to farmer, and the government of Liberia gave full assistance to people in Liberia through the COVID stimulus package, and that which could help people. And also the government went forward to give support to school, and WFP giving support to schools, feeding students at school, and also government giving support to students like putting this into a policy by paying wax fees and having tuition free and tertiary education in Liberia at public institutions. Definitely the money parents could use will be diverted to food that will help to increase the issue of food security. However, those efforts are just minute, and the government needs to accelerate them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Christine. You emphasize on the need for us to promote good agricultural practices, investment in rotation, organic farming, irrigation services, the implementation of climate risk reduction, agricultural activities, the availability of agricultural loans and the creation of an agricultural bank. You talk about the farming assistance to farmer. You give example of projects that are doing that, and you stress as part of recovery efforts, the COVID-19 stimulus package to farmers. To that we would like to say a big thank you to Mr. Kemu Moba.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Mr. Kemu Moba. We need to achieve food security in especially this changing environment or changing climate post-COVID. What are our opportunities and what are our responsibilities?
Okay, thank you and good afternoon, everyone. So, in the discourse for food security, we look at two important goals of the SDGs. Goal 2 talk about zero hunger, and Goal 13 talk about climate change. So our discussion will practically center around the two goals, and then it will cross-cut youth and women. So food security, we all know, has been threatened over the years. Even before the coming of COVID-19, food security has been threatened. Then COVID-19 came and just stepped it up. So there are a few things we need to do in order to achieve food security in post-COVID-19 socio-economic and green recovery process. So the first thing we need to do is to look at land tenure. Over 175 years ago, when the first Constitution of Liberia was written, the land tenure was just reduced to two, either public land or private land. So by that, the customary people who own the land before the coming of the settlers, they lost ownership of the land. It was in 2018 when the new land right law was passed, increasing the tenure to 4 now. So until land tenure is addressed, where young people, women especially, who contribute immensely when it comes to food production, have ownership and property right over the land, we cannot achieve food security. So land tenure is one of our landmarks that we should be able to address. The second issue is agricultural practices and educational attainment. How many persons involved in agriculture have the agricultural education in order to grow food that can feed more than their families? People do shifting cultivation. You can be playing here today, and after a year, you have to move to another place, and what have you. So, until we be able to educate our population on what makes a better agriculture, I mean, what can you do in order to grow food that will support beyond your home, we will not be able to achieve our goal. Another point is the labor availability. A lot of young people, the youth, especially the men nowadays, they are not involved in agriculture anymore. Because, just as we said, the educational attainment is not there. They do not have the knowledge to go into farming. So, young people are running behind motorbikes to run and make quick money and what have you, and forgetting to know that the soil is there. So, to achieve food security, we must be able to design programs that will bring back the young people into agricultural processes so that they will be able to do. Then post-harvest losses is one of the issues that are affecting food security. People will grow food beyond their homes, meaning you grow food that you can feed your home and you can export to sell. If you go right here to Yahweh Mesno, before coming from Yahweh Mesno to come on the main road, you see plenty piled up. One plenty park can take half of this room, and there is no car to go in to get the plenty. So the people harvest the food, and then they lost the food. So post-harvest losses need to be addressed in order to achieve what? Food security. Yeah, 30 seconds. So second to the last will be our road infrastructure. That a lot of speakers have spoken about road infrastructure. We need to improve our road. Then lastly, but most important, is the financing of farmers. Farmers do not access finances. WFP did a survey in 2018. 57% of the respondents said they get money for farming through either VSLA, SUSU, or family member. No bank wants to give farmer money. So how do we improve agriculture? How do we secure food when the farmers who are supposed to be investing in the soil don't have the initial capital to invest? So on this note, I want to stop here so that we can continue the discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moba. You spoke specifically around Goal 3, Goal 2, and Goal 4. And the key points you highlighted include the need to provide financial access for farmers, investment in road infrastructure, accessibility, reduction of post-harvest losses, the availability of labor, and education to make farming and agriculture attractive once more, and dealing with the issue around land tenure. Thank you so much. I believe several persons here in the room will have questions to ask. But I'd like to go to Madame. Your perspective, what would be your response to dealing with food security post-COVID, especially focusing on the socio-economic and the green recovery processes? What do you think our opportunities are? And what do you think are our responsibilities?
Okay, firstly, I want to appreciate the time given me. I'm Rashida Fuku Yamasu from Bon County, Sanoye District. What I got to say on food security, on climate change, food security is something that we as a women, most of the time we take part in growing food. We are greatly involved with producing food as women group around the county, around the nation. When it comes to food security, women up there, what they do to enable them to be part of the society is to involve themselves in agriculture. In agriculture, it's the backbone these days for the women. Most of the time you go to the rural communities, you will see majority of the women, they are involved with agriculture. They carry most of the huge goods in Monrovia. Food security also recognize that women, they are the breadwinner of the house, of the home. because they are greatly involved with food security when it comes to that. We see that COVID came and disturbed us in our businesses, in our health sector, in so many things. Our movement to go around to look for food here and there, it was slowed down because of the COVID. And through that, awareness, from my point, awareness was done by some women groups that volunteered themselves to just do awareness. And that helped us in our COVID-19 to help us to not get that virus in our community. And also, we will recognize that in our agriculture, in recognizing food security, in producing as an organization in our rural communities, we found it hard on the land side, but not too much from my own community. But mainly when it comes to our youth immaturity to take part when you go to the rural area, the women are immaturity than the men, the young boys. So we took it into consideration, including recognizing more women groups, more girls that are there and just having their children, sometimes we call them and have awareness with them and telling them the importance of their own life. And if you continue to have children, just like that, without food, it will be a problem. So these are awareness I will do on food security to make them to know that it is important to grow food. And also in food security, we recognize that the swamp we got in our very area, it is not cultivated. So most of the time we use some of those older people to help us cultivate our very swamp in terms of food production. So from my own point, I will take this time to recognize the government, and also in their policy making, there should be something that will guide us as a women group, as girls coming on, that will carry us for the long term. There should be a conference that will help us, at least in times of every year. There should be women that will get up to give their grievances on food security. What are they doing? These are things when we have it, some women are there not able to talk, but they help us. At least they break their fear in expressing what they got in mind that can help us on how to move from one place to another in producing food in our various communities. And sometimes too, we are disappointed when this kind of workshop come and we are here to take part as women group. When we're producing, we don't have area to store our crops, our food that we produce. Sometimes it will stay and it just be molded, because in Liberia we grow the country rice. I would say the country rice, we produce it and we don't have storage for it. So in their policy making, we are asking the government in their planning, there should be policy that will guide us in storing our food, because we shouldn't just grow the food and let everything to spoil. When you're ready to spoil, it can spoil. So we are asking the government to please help us. As a women, we need to be empowered by farmers, empowering us, and not just to say, because sometimes we catch hard time, it's sometimes going to the federal banks here and there. When you take the money, majority will stay, because you are run around whole time just to achieve some 10,000 or 15,000. So we want to say, from my point, the women are there and willing to work. But what can make them to work? We are asking the government to help us in our policy making by adding us strongly to help us to store our food in terms of keeping for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to say, Madam Jigu, you stress the need for women involvement in food security. Food security cannot happen unless women are fully integrated. And as such, women must be educated, aware of the implications of. There's a need for us to invest in that too as well. Women empowerment through training, creation of skills, and other things to provide support for them, for household support. I'd like to say a big thank you for that, and I hope our colleagues in the audience are paying attention and that they will be able to make recommendations or ask additional questions. Well, we have Mr. Michael Pugh. You have listened to all of this. The government of Liberia has spoken. Youth have spoken. Women group have spoken. As a private sector, for us to achieve a healthy planet for, prosperity of all, the private sector plays a major role. From your perspective, how do we utilize the opportunities and what are our responsibilities?
Thank you. My name is Michael Pugh, and from Menina Farmers Incorporated, I'm the CEO. With this question, I will tell you that agriculture is the cornerstone of human society, providing not only food and nutrition security, but also employment for millions of people around the world. What the government and its partners ought to do is to increase investment in agriculture and the food system in general to improve efficiency and increase productivity and also conserve resources. This goes with choosing locations in various regions, locations that are suitable for cropping patterns, including crop rotation, multiple cropping practices that can improve land use, and crop productivity. So the government ought to develop, and I say they ought to develop a policy which would policy and strategy, appropriate policy and strategy that will guide the smallholder farmers, guide and provide technical and institutional support and incentive to smallholder farmer and community to adapt, the right and sustainable solution. Again, what we need to do is to allow the policies so that my friend addressed it, so that they can be able to address the risks along the food value chain, which include storage, post-harvest losses, and food safety risks. And when it comes to the basis of inclusive green recovery, the possibility is to reimagine where we want to go and what we want to achieve in society in terms of improving livelihood and fighting climate change. It is not only important how much we invest in green recovery effort, but where and what we invest in. Again, we need to find a new way and a better way to systematically gain us knowledge from those who are most disadvantaged. From those who are most disadvantaged, and as they do, to have a kind of a channel to love it, and to love it, a loving effort that would that more privileged players in the sector do. So what I mean is that people who are disadvantaged in the sector, and don't have the ability to lobby, So we should have conversation like this with them, so that they can give us ideas as to what we can do to lobby on behalf of them. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You stress the need for policy and strategy alignment. You stress the need for the institutional support for smallholders. You stress the need for us to reduce the risks associated with food safety and consumption, improve livelihood to respond to climate change risks. That's resilience. Investment in green recovery, but what specific our investments should be. And finally, you talk about the need for us to integrate disadvantaged people into our planning, for us to consult them more. You have listened to our panelists provide their inputs. I will entertain 5 questions. 5 questions. One of them has to be a woman. Thank you. I will start from here.
What is your ministry doing to address the issue of conservation agriculture, because we are largely depleting the environment and cutting down trees? And we think conservation agriculture is the newest way of conserving our society now. So what is your ministry doing towards it? Thank you.
Conservation agriculture, what's the ministry doing? Ma'am. Recommendation. My recommendation is,
if we are asking for loan for agriculture, my recommendation is not only loan, but to educate the people within the various counties when it comes to climate change, because climate change has great impact when it comes to agriculture.
Recommendation. Okay, we are concerned about food security, and indeed food security is very important because we have to eat to live. But in doing so, we should also be.
my recommendation is, we don't want background, what does food security do?
Okay, I will recommend integrated farming and conservation of farming.
Thank you, sir. I'll come to you. Yeah. Okay, question? Yeah. No background. Like, we're going to talk to them over.
Okay, out of the 6 gases that affect the climate change, agriculture contribute 3. So where can we fit in agriculture inland with the climate change, considering the EPA rules?
EPA role in the reduction of agricultural emissions. Can I hear? Great. Who the EPA person? Who the government person? Now you will take government question.
My recommendation is, especially with the disadvantaged group, as I heard there, and from the disabled community, in order to improve the food security, I want the government of Liberia, partners, and what have you, to help support persons with disabilities, as it was proven in the 2020 National Agricultural Fair, where a disabled group in person of Missionary Hope for Disabled won the Best Cassava Producer Award. Second,
No. So one you agree to one. So investment in people living with disability to ensure that the continual production. I will have one more question, and that will be all. Yes, from you, ma'am.
My question is, my name is Janet Codison. My name is Janet Codison, and my question is to the Ministry of Agriculture. I want to know how far the ministry has gone in working with the vulnerable group. When we talk about the vulnerable group, which are the youth, the women,
Yeah, so let's go.
Yeah, how far, please do not distract me. How far have you gone with the inclusiveness of food security for the vulnerable group?
Thank you. How far have you gone with the inclusiveness of food security for vulnerable group?
Okay, I had to represent my body with Muntukadami, but my only a comfortable long story. My question.
Wait. Your need comfort talk about long story.
Yeah.
Our need, it's okay.
Okay, my question going to my daughter.
The question going to your daughter, Manfuku.
Yeah, because she's from Ganta.
She's from Ganta.
And she advocating for the agricultural sector. But I want to know, she doing it for all and it will water it will waste all in Nimakande, yeah? Because I hear Nimakande, nobody talking about the agriculture for Nima M.
Thank you. The first response is directed to conservation agriculture. Currently, the ministry is trying to work with partners and farmers in promoting climate smart agriculture and also integrated and organic farming. So, like we have the projects, MOA projects around here now. We are encouraging farmers to go into the lowland, and we are introducing varieties that has 3 months duration. So, and we are encouraging organic farming so as to make sure to avoid depleting the soil. And then, working with vulnerable group in agriculture. The ministry projects also gave opportunity to the vulnerable farmers, and now they start a ritual project, open state arms to everybody. And that's you have the opportunity as a group of farmers to apply for a grant, and you will decide how you want to use it. The ministry will just work with you to guide you in the process. And also, in ministry also, we are trying to work with partners, encouraging investors in the rice sector. As we all know, our staple food in Liberia is rice. And in Liberia, we don't have any investor that is growing rice. The only investors here that are importing rice. So we are,
don't still on
okay.
One question.
So that's it. So again, we are making sure that we work with our farmers and the vulnerable, including everybody, on a very sustainable level. And government is trying to exert all effort in making sure that farmers get the needed support they need. However, regardless of our challenges, we are making sure to reach out to farmers. Thank you.
Great. So, government doing all its best to make sure that all your answers and all the recommendations you made is taken into consideration. Special statement from the UNDP, I was pulled aside. The UNDP said that there is a major challenge for farmers on land availability. There is a challenge that is posing serious threat to investment. Farmers do not have access to land. And my colleague Kamu, right? Yeah. Kamu spoke about land tenure. Her point was the best approach or the best alternative to go. Well, I think I shouldn't. She didn't travel anywhere. She's right here. Madam Boyna wants to make a strong statement from the UNDP. Let me shut up.
That many of the places where our projects are, access to land for farming has been a major challenge. And I don't know how far the government is at, helping farmers, because people may be willing to have farm and produce and have enough food so that food security will not be a problem. But access to land is a problem. Just go right in Kemo. You have so many land, but you can't so that choose land. You can't understand the other person land, so you don't easily have access. In fact, what we started doing is to enter MOU, because sometimes you start to use the land, and then another family will come and say, we are now consulted, and they land you have made a farm on it. Now we need our land. And then all the investment on our land goes to zero. So we really need the government. I don't know what the land acts or whatever it is doing in that direction, but it's a serious impediment to agriculture, access to land. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I would like to say a big thank you to the panel. Ask a question and say, let's talk what you talk. Say you're coming from one country, that you're one you were talking for, or you were talking for everybody.
I will not talk for myself. I spoke for all of the women in Liberia, including Nimba County, because we work together. What I said is, if we meeting as a women group, At times, we will know each other's problem. That's the only thing we need to do. To relate to each other. If we relating, then we know what your problem and you will know my problem. That's the only thing we need to do as women group. To encourage other women to join the boat so we can produce.
Nima Ganta is here. That is it? Yeah. So, you got questions directed to you? Huh? Provide information. Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay. So then, Menina Rural Saving and Credit Cooperative is a rural bank that we open a lounge in right here, right by you here. I see you cross Nima County, right to Bon County here. In Foucault Road, just take Foucault Road, you come there. And that the intention of that effort is to give loan or to give access to finance to farmers.
So anybody can apply.
So anybody can come there, and once you meet the criteria, we give you loan. That is our own way of making some effort.
Anybody from anywhere, right?
So if you get
Anybody from anywhere, right?
go there, you apply.
But if you meet the criteria,
You meet,
From really
in fact, just go there, you just say, I come for money. So thank you so much. My role is to tell you. So thank you so much to this panel. We appreciate it. Please put your hands together for the panel. Again, I'm sorry if I come.